All right, we are going to get started here in 1 minute. Just 1 minute, we'll get started. So get your act together. All right, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday and joining us for kind of a thank you, a little kickoff to the new season, the 2014 season of our live from Italy cooking class series. It's kind of excited to be back doing this again. So much has changed in a year. The technology has moved so fast. It was kind of crazy. We just realized today that the computer we currently use is totally obsolete, and we get to just kind of keep on running along with the technology itself. So it's incredible. It is 9 p.m. Central European time. I stand before you in my living room, or in my kitchen, here in Piobico, Italy. And we're going to do a little question and answer and a little short Salsa Verde today. Just a little thank you guys for supporting us last year. Just kind of the people who the insiders who joined us for season 1 of the live cooking classes. So we'll give everyone another 30 seconds to get going. Well, maybe Ash, you want to say hello? You haven't said, so everyone can see on the other side.
Ciao tutti! So I have to remember to keep my volumes down. I get a bit excited on this side of the camera when I flip it over. We're dealing with some new technology, like Jason said, still working on our little 3-camera operation and trying it this year on YouTube. Hopefully it'll be a lot easier for you guys to tune in, watch, cook along, and we are really excited to get rolling. We spent the last couple days trying to iron out all the kinks, and we hope we get it right. The quality will still be a bit on the lower side until we're able to amp everything up, like Jason said, with kind of a new computer and some other bits of things we'll get along the way as we keep building. But we're excited to get cooking, and I'm going to throw it back to Jason. One sec. All right, here we go.
All right. Unlike any other cookery show on TV, we are going to do this together. You and I in your kitchen, living room, wherever you happen to be, this afternoon, this morning, this evening, wherever you are in the world at this point in time, kind of crazy. We are going to make salsa verde today. Now, salsa verde is green sauce, and it's most cultures have them. The French have one, the Spanish have one, the Portuguese have a salsa verde, Mexicans have a salsa verde, and the Italians do as well. And it changes from where you are. This is kind of a very sauce that you can use for just about everything. You'll make it today, it'll be better tomorrow than it is today. Keep it in a little glass jar, stick it in the fridge. I use it on top of hard-boiled eggs, boiled potatoes, grilled fish, grilled vegetables, throw it into a grain salad, put it on a sandwich. It just gets better. It lasts about a month and a half in the fridge, and there will be no doubt when it turns, because you'll go smell it and it'll smell fermented almost. Couple of simple ingredients. Yes, my darling.
Just before we get started, I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone who's watching. On the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see a place where you can put your comments and questions. There is a delay in the filming of this, so if you put your questions early on, we can make sure to get to them as soon as possible. We'll be fielding the general questions at the end of the class, and ones that are pertinent to the procedure going on at hand, I will try to shuttle in and offer up to Jason as soon as possible. So I just wanted to add that little piece of info. All right, back to Jay. One sec.
All right. So salsa verde depends on where you're from in Italy or in Europe or in the world. Lots of different variations on this. Here's the one that I do. Pretty simple. Today we're going to use parsley. You can use any really kind of combination of herbs if you want. Parsley this time of year because that's all I really have. Basil's not really growing anymore. You can use coriander. You can use cilantro. You can use really any other type of herb any other herb that you want. Some chilies, chili flakes, or our chilies are ready to be ground up into chili flakes. So a little bit of chili, some anchovy. Now anchovy for the saltiness. So anchovy and caper together, right? These are for salt. 2 salty ingredients. And the salty ingredients because we can't add salt to this sauce because it's mostly oil, and we'll get to that in just one moment. And then some garlic. So let's get to it. Here's how it's going to go. Are you with me? All right. We're going to make enough for, a small jar of it, about 1/2 a cup or 120 mils of oil. Now, you don't want to use the absolute best oil you can get. You don't want to use cheap junk either. Something kind of middle of the road. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. Oh my God, what a perfect amount right there. I'm going to put this onto a low heat and just let it slowly heat up while we cut up the garlic. Okay, the garlic. My garlic here has flavor and it's pretty strong. Sometimes garlic in the States can be a little bit weaker. So I'm going to start with 2 cloves. If yours is that papery white, has no taste garlic, use 4 and go from there. Yes.
Quick question. From Mark Salmons, when the anchovies are chopped, about how many tablespoons would there be?
It depends, Mark, what type of, it's all ratio, so you could always add more. You'll take 2 to 4 anchovy fillets and chop them up. We're not there yet. And then you'll see. Give it a taste. If you taste fish in this dish, you're using way too much anchovy. Anchovy should just be in the background. All right, garlic though. Here we go. 2 cloves of garlic. If you have smaller cloves of garlic, or if your garlic tends to be a little weaker, then use 4. But remember, we could always put more in. It's hard to take it out. All right, get rid of the peppers, and we're going to chop it up nice and fine. Now, the garlic is the only ingredient in here that we really cook, and that is because raw garlic tastes horrible. Now, if we cook the garlic too hard, if the oil is too hot, and we cook it and we brown the garlic, it's going to change its flavor. So what we want to do is we want to cook the garlic nice and soft. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to show you here in just one sec. We're going to chop the garlic as fine as we can. Shouldn't take that long. Notice, oh man, this garlic's really strong. So what do I have here? I have 3 cloves. What is this, about a teaspoon and a half? Something like that. Again, know your ingredients, smell it. If I can smell this garlic from here, if your garlic is much weaker, use more. If it's much stronger, use less. All right, so there's how fine I need my garlic chopped up. First one done. Now, the oil. We have to take the raw taste off the garlic without browning it, without caramelizing it, without turning it brown. If you turn it brown, you change the taste. So we get our oil hot or warm. How do I know when it's warm? Well, it becomes viscous. It becomes more liquidy. When oil is cold, it becomes thicker. When it gets hot, it becomes more like watery. So I can see how it's starting to get watery. I'll leave it on for just one more second. All right, now here's going to become my test. How do I know when my garlic is hot, or my oil is hot enough for the garlic? Nope, not yet. All right, while we're waiting, anchovies. We'll take 2. 2 to start. These are anchovy fillets. Sometimes I use anchovies under salt. Sometimes I use fillets under oil. It depends on what I have. If I had the ones under salt, I would wash them really well. But all I'm going to do is chop them up nice and small. You can even smush them with the back of your knife. Again, if you have a person who doesn't like anchovies in your family, give a try to this. Give a try using anchovies in this way, because if you taste them, you put too much in. Look at the amount of anchovy versus garlic that I have here so far. Okay? So that's the difference of anchovy to garlic. What, like 4-1, yeah? Okay. But we're not talking about anchovies just yet. We're talking about garlic. So here's my oil. Can you see right into my potash? Okay, here's my test. I take a little bit of the garlic. I throw it in. See how it starts to bubble like that? Now, if it bubbles like that and turns brown immediately, it's too hot. If it bubbles like that and slows down, see how the bubbles are slowing down? That's what I'm looking for. And if I throw it in and nothing happens, then it's too cold. So I throw the rest of my garlic in. You'll see it'll bubble now it's off the heat. It's totally off the heat. We throw it in, it should bubble for a moment, and then the bubbles will calm down. There it goes. There the bubbles start calming down. And nothing has browned. See how the garlic has not, even the tiny, tiny pieces have not browned. If you are in doubt, put 1 or 2 pieces of garlic in and see what happens. If the garlic browns up immediately, it's too hot. Let the oil cool down. If nothing happens, it's too cold. Give it another moment. You can see now that everything is totally calmed down. Now it's not hot. I can put my finger in this oil. It's not really that hot. Okay. That's the most important part of this whole salsa verde, is making sure we take the raw taste of the garlic take the raw taste away from the garlic without browning it. Now, we can set this aside to cool. Coming back to my anchovy. Next ingredient will be the capers. We'll do 1 spoonful of capers with the couple of anchovies. Now, capers come in 2 ways. They come under the like vinegary, salty brine, or they come packed in salt. If yours came packed in salt, like the package in my hand, then what you need to do is you need to rinse them in water. Open the package, take a little bowl out, rinse them for 5 minutes or so, squeeze them out, and do exactly what I'm going to do now. Mine came packed in vinegar, so they don't have as briny, as salty as a texture. Go ahead and chop those guys up with, since I don't have my chilies all processed yet, we'll put the chilies in there too. This would be approximately a pinch of the chili that you're going to throw in with the garlic. If you had a mortar and pestle and want to do that in there, knock yourself out. Just make sure that we cannot tell the difference between the anchovy and the caper. All right, you ready for the hard part? Here we go. Now that you can see that my oil is totally calmed down, nothing's bubbling, nothing's brewing, nothing. I stick my finger in it, it feels warm, not hot. Now we can add our capers and our anchovies to the warm oil. So the garlic went into oil that's made it slightly bubbly. Now once that stopped bubbling and calms down, now the capers and the anchovies go in. Because we want to warm those slightly, but it doesn't need to be as hot as the oil needed to be for the garlic. Perfect. That goes to the side. 3/4 of the way done. Okay, next and last, your parsley. Now, parsley. Parsley is what we could call a in-between herb. So there's hard herbs, soft herbs, and in-between herbs. Hard herbs are rosemary and thyme, 2 examples. Those you can't really eat those raw. Then there's soft herbs that you can never cook, which is like basil, chervil, oregano. Those you never want to cook. And then there's in-betweeners. Parsley and sage are they feel like a soft herb, but you can kind of cook them like a hard herb. The only problem with when you use, I call them tweeners, when you eat them raw is the stem. So if we're going to eat this raw, which we will for this dish, we have to pick the leaf from the stem. And when I say pick the leaf from the stem, this in-between stem, this interconnecting stem needs to go too. So I just want the leaf itself. So what I want is about a handful of just the leaves of the parsley. And again, if you had parsley and basil, or if you have parsley and thyme, or if you have parsley and chervil, or parsley and whatever floats your boat, it doesn't matter. Play with it. But no stems. No, it makes a difference. This is what I'm talking about right there. That's a stem. This will be woody. This is going to be woody, and it's going to be, try it. Go ahead and put it in your mouth. It's woody and it's fibrous, whereas the leaf is soft. So no stems. No stems, no stems. And I would say you need about a solid big handful and a half. We're going to eyeball it. What's that? That's a big handful. We'll do 1/2 more handful. Sure. What the heck? Remember, we can always put more in. So when we go to taste this, if we're like, it needs a little bit more caper, or it has no garlic, or it tastes a little, I don't taste any saltiness at all, then you could always put more in. But if you dump a whole bunch of parsley in there, you're going to have to add more of everything. So, okay, so there's 1.5 handfuls about. We're going to chop it up nice and fine, just like the other guys. You don't really need to do this in the food processor. Why get another piece of equipment out? It takes 5 minutes. It's supposed to be easy. How are you doing? Are you staying with me? Am I going a little fast? It's all right. You can catch up in 2 seconds because this is not rocket science. All right, there we go. I got my parsley. So, you can see here's the consistency. It's oily, yeah, so far. So in here is a little bit of chili, a little bit of the garlic, the anchovy, and the capers. That's it. And the oil is now cool because we don't want to stick the herbs into a hot oil. They will turn black and they'll kind of shrivel up. So the oil shouldn't be cold, but it's not bath water either. It's pretty cool. So in goes a good amount of the parsley. Mix it up. What consistency are you looking for? Are you looking for more of a paste, or are you looking more of a sauce, right? This is still kind of oily for me, so I'll add the rest. All right, mix it in. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. It's oily, but it's kind of got a little bit of consistency to it. Last thing, vinegar. White wine vinegar. 1, 2, 3. It's not a true vinaigrette, so we're not looking for a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 parts of oil to 1 part of vinegar for this. We're just looking for a little bit of acid in it. So I gave it a 3 count, which is probably 3 teaspoons. Mix it up. Now, one thing you'll notice, we talked about it at the beginning, that's missing from here is salt. And that's because salt is not fat soluble, meaning salt does not dissolve in fat. Salt only dissolves in water. So what would happen to salt if I put this in? It will sink to the bottom and it will become gritty in the sauce. It will never melt because there's not really any water in here. There's a little bit of the vinegar, but not enough to melt the salt. So just salt whatever you're going to use this on. This needs to sit for a few moments before we taste it. And it'll give me a chance to answer any questions if there are any. When you go to taste this, we don't want it to be acidy. You don't want it to taste just like oil. Garlic shouldn't smack you in the face. You shouldn't really know that there's anchovy in it. Everything should just be balanced. Give it a taste. Adjust. Make small adjustments and taste again. This will be better tomorrow than it is today. It's a sauce that needs to go and sit. Let it sit in the fridge. Usually the oil will kind of firm up in the refrigerator. Bring it out an hour before you use it. We use this over our hard-boiled eggs all the time. Like I said, potatoes. It's an all-around very, very versatile sauce that can be put on just about anything. Fish especially, boiled potatoes. And play with it. Make it your own. I showed you the basic. Now go ahead. Remember, there's only a few components. The fat component in the olive oil, the aromatics of the herbs and the garlic, those are the aromatic, and the salt from the capers and the anchovies. So if you absolutely hate anchovies, find another salty component to that. You don't like parsley at all? Great, put another herb, an aromatic component. Break it, think of this recipe in terms of the different components. We have fat, salt, aromatic in here. All right, so I'm gonna give this a little taste. Make sure we mix it up and see what it needs. I taste acid, it's got acid. I taste the garlic. I think it needs more anchovy and it needs more caper. So I'm gonna take another half a spoonful of caper and another 1 anchovy. And I'm gonna chop it up and I'm gonna add it in. So adjust. You know, I really don't, the way I cook is not to get out a cup measure and measure a half a cup. Dump some oil in the pot, heat it up, get a couple of cloves of garlic, and just kind of figure it out. It's a ratio. You know that garlic is going to be the ingredient that's the most by volume. Then will be the capers, and then of course the anchovies, because the anchovies are the strongest flavor. The garlic is a strong flavor as well, but by putting it in the warm oil that we did at the beginning, kind of mellows out the raw garlic flavor. All right, almost mushed. So in the end, you shouldn't be able to tell the difference between the garlic, the anchovy, and the caper. All right. Put that guy in, and we'll give it another. There it is. Okay, so by the salt, it needed the salt. So the anchovy and the caper, by putting in just a little bit more of each, brought more salt to the dish and really brought out the taste of the parsley. It brought out the taste of the garlic. So try it. If you taste this, when you're tasting this, if you think, it needs something, it's going to be the salt in this dish. So it's going to be the salty ingredient, sorry. It's going to be the caper and it's going to be the anchovy. It still does not taste like caper or anchovy. It just has more roundness to it. So that's it, salsa verde in about 5 minutes. Most difficult part is picking all the parsley, really. Ash, you got any questions about salsa verde or anything in general?
We do have a question. Let's see here. It was a cheese question, so it's totally random.
Hit me.
All right, from Ellen Powers. Hi, Jason. Can you make a suggestion of a cheese that I could serve with honey and one that I could get in the U.S.?
Yes.
Let me switch that over to you.
So, Ellen Powers, a cheese that you want to serve with honey would be a cheese that is very strong or stagionato or aged. So the stinkier, the better. Normally around here they don't serve honey or a marmalade or something with a fresh cheese or a lighter tasting cheese. It's usually the ones that have a little bite to them, that the sweetness kind of cuts through the bite. One that comes off the top of my head is Formaggio di Fosso, but that you can't find. Some of the nice ones, we just had a really, really strong, the Caciocavallo, which is a, what's that, Ashley? Caciocavallo from Puglia.
Isn't that...
Provolone. Ooh, there was a stinky provolone that someone brought up the other day from Puglia that would go nice. Here they eat these... well, I talked about that, but you'll never find Formaggio di Fossa in the States, I'm sure. But you will find an aged pecorino, sheep smoked cheese. Go the stinkier the better, or the more aged, the more bite to it, the better, usually with honey. All right? Yes, my dear.
I just wanted to add that a good honey, some of the honeys with the softer cheese that you will find is the truffle honey. So if it's been honey infused with truffle that you could find in this area at times, with literally just pieces of truffle shaved in, that at times will get served with a fresher cheese because it's mild of flavor. So you want that truffle flavor to really come out. Another question is, really it's more of a camera question. If we can show the sauce again. And then one more question. What do you do if you need to add more garlic now that the oil is cooler? Great question from Lori. 1 second. Let me switch back to Jay. So on the sauce once again, and then the garlic. We're going to shoot right to the sauce.
All right. So Great question, Laurie. If you need to add a little bit more garlic, what I would do is get another tiny little pot, heat up the oil, and add the garlic to the oil, and then add that garlic oil to the finished sauce. Keep it less oil, right? So you're not going to add another quarter cup or half a cup of oil. You're just going to add a couple of tablespoons, heat it up slightly, add another clove of garlic, and then spoon or two of that into the salsa verde that has all the components, and see if that brings the garlic back a little bit. But you can't just heat this whole thing, because now you have the anchovies, which will not do well if you heat them. You have the capers, which will change it if you heat them, and the parsley that will fry if you heat the oil. All right, so there it is. Here's my consistency. This is my consistency is a little bit thicker. Some people do a little bit more oil, but then it's more like a dressing, and this should be a sauce. Right, you can see how you can't really tell the difference between the garlic, the capers, and the anchovies. And I probably could have cut my parsley a little bit smaller, but you know, I was kind of in a rush. Not in a rush, but you know, it's silence. It's a lot of silence. I don't like to have silence, but that's it.
Okay, that's good.
And this came out good. Delicious. Put it on anything. Seriously, it needs a little bit of salt. Remember, because salt is not fat soluble, only water soluble. We're really, really excited for the 2015 season. I can't believe it's already the end of the year. Next week, we're going to be kicking off the real season, the regular season of the live cooking classes. You are with us today because we want to thank you so much for joining us last year and supporting us. 2015 will be our last year here at Cacamone and operating the Agriturismo. So if we've been on your bucket list and you haven't been out to visit us, it's time to get out to Italy. Start looking at plane tickets. Thank you very, very much. We are going to come right to you next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, Central European time, or whatever time you're currently watching us. And we'll be back doing it next week. We'll have veal in the pan. Or, I'm sorry, not veal in the pan.
I can run through it.
No, Ashley will run through it in a minute. Very good. Thank you so much. Buona domenica. We'll see you next week. Ciao, ciao.
Where did the there we go. Now I've got my volume back. Okay, so for the next couple episodes coming up, we have going on Sunday, December 14th, we have the bone-in braised veal breast. This is a classic at our farmhouse. If you've been here, we call it puntine vitello, the butcher's favorite. It depends on what cut Jason's brought back from the butcher that day. Sometimes we bring back capicola, Jay.
Yeah, you can do it with pork chops.
You can do it with pork chops. This one is so many possibilities. It's kind of a one-pot dish. It's absolutely delicious, and it will become a family classic. We're going to do that with poached pears for dessert. Beautiful with some mascarpone. Just gorgeous. Then as a little prep for Christmas, we're going to do butternut squash soup or a butternut squash and pumpkin soup. Another favorite here, and our most classic world-famous tiramisu. I am so excited for this one. Then Sunday, December 28th, we're going to do homemade cavatelli, a super simple pasta, no rolling pin needed. This is going to be one you just sit at the table with friends and you crank out on a rainy Sunday. Jason's going to go over how to make a classic just plate of pasta. How to not F this up, basically. And then we're going to be doing on January 4th, scallopini with mushrooms, a shaved cauliflower salad, and farro, our winter farro salad with walnuts, pomegranates, and truffles if you've got them. Like Jason said, we are so excited to start this next season. On YouTube right now, be sure to hit the thumbs up that you liked today's class. Make sure to subscribe so you stay in the loop for all the upcoming classes. If you are watching this today, you're already on our list to be able to stay in the loop. If you are watching this as a recorded episode, make sure to shoot me an email to RSVP and to get on our list at info@latavolamarche.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, listen to our podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. It's all through La Tavola Marche, which is LATAVOLAMARCHE. You can find me on Instagram at Ashley Bartner, and be sure to share, pass it around, share it on Facebook, share it, retweet, all of that. It helps to spread the word and helps get our classes out to even more. Thanks so much. Have a great Sunday. Go Seahawks! Woohoo! All right. Now we have to figure out how to shut it down. Have a great weekend.